Solve exponential equation. We have a very interesting equation here to solve. The question is, solve 3 to the power of x minus 2x minus 1 equals to 0. Now, it looks a very simple equation, but it's kind of complicated. Since it is not a simple exponential equation, we have 3 to the power of x minus 2x. Now, this cannot be written as an exponent. Minus 1, which is a constant, equals to 0, right? So we have a constant term, we have a linear term, and we have an exponential term. Now, to solve such an equation, it's better to use the techniques like graphing or even table of values. So I'll show you the solution of this equation using a graph. Let's rewrite this equation. So we can write 3 to the power of x as equal to, so when I take these terms to the right side, I get 2x plus 1. So basically, I'm trying to say that we have two different equations. One is an exponential equation, the other one is a linear equation. Do you see that? So we have this part, which is exponential. And then we have here a linear equation, right? Now, if I can draw a graph for both the functions, then points of intersection will give me the solution for the equation, right? So that's a good way of doing it. And that is how most of the computers will work and find the solution for such equations. So let's try to figure out how to get solution by making graphs. So let's say this is our coordinate axis, and let's just give some points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Now, to draw the exponential graph, we can take few values. Let's start with x equals to 0. So if I take x equals to 0, anything to the power of 0 is 1, correct? So that's my first point. If I take x equals to 1, since it is 3 to the power of x, it will be 3. So for 1, my point will be kind of here, and for 2, it will be quite high, right? So we have gone up to 4, so somewhere outside the scale. Okay, how about minus 1? 1/3 will be minus 1, so this is kind of 1. So 1/3, so it's positive, and here it is. If I take minus 2, 1/9, so slowly this will going to come very, very close to 0, but it'll never be 0, right? So that is how the graph is going to be. So I can plot this graph saying this is my line, which is representing 3 to the power of x. So that is 3 to the power of x for me, correct? So you got the first graph, the exponential graph. Now let's draw the linear function. For the linear function 2x plus 1, if x is 0, we get the y-intercept 1. So we get this point 1, and that is one of the solutions, since it is common to both. If I put x as 1, I get 2 times 1 as 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. So at 1, we get the same point 3, right? So that's the second solution. Now if I take x as 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5. So at 2, we get a point which is 5. So it is kind of here, right? Now we can join these points and get our line. If I take x as minus 1, if it is minus 1, in that case minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. So I get a point which will be somewhere here, right? So we can join these points, and if I do, so what I'm doing is basically taking care of these 2 points and extending my line, right? So let me just join using these 2 points. Okay, so we have a line here. So this line represents 2x plus 1. As you can clearly see from the graph, we have two solutions, and therefore we can say our solution is at x equals to 0, right? At x equals 0, and the other solution is at x equals to 1, right? So these are the two solutions. You can check. If I put in our equation, which is 3 to the power of x, if I put 0 there, 3 to the power of 0 minus 2 times 0 minus 1. What do I get? 3 to the power of 0 is 1. Anything multiplied by 0 will be 0. 1 minus 1 is 0, correct? So that is correct solution. So that's kind of a check, right? If I put x equals to 1, then what do I get? 3 to the power of 1 minus 2 times 1 minus 1. 3 to the power of 1 is 3 minus 2 times 1 is 2, which gives me 1, and 1 minus 1 is also 0, right? So that is check for our solution, right? So we have checked it. It works perfectly fine. I think this is the most simplest way to solve this particular equation, 3 to the power of x minus 2x minus 1. And that is how you should be doing it at this stage from the techniques which we have learned so far. So sometimes you have to take decisions, right? So you're given an equation which is kind of mixed up and you don't have any clear method of solving it. Best way is graph it. If you graph it, normally you get approximate solutions. Fortunately for us, in this particular case, we got exact solutions. That's great. Thank you and all the best. I hope you appreciate the technique.